There is a crow living near you right now. It knows your face. It has been memorizing your routine, when you leave, when you come back, whether you are a threat or a neutral presence. And it has shared that information with at least 3 other crows. This is not remarkable behavior for a crow. This is just a Tuesday. Science has spent the last 20 years quietly dismantling everything we believed about bird intelligence. And what researchers found at the bottom of that investigation is still causing arguments in academic circles. Because the animal most of us dismiss without a second glance turns out to be running cognitive operations we once reserved exclusively for primates. You have been underestimating the crow, and the crow has been studying you. In 2008, a researcher named John Marsluff at the University of Washington ran an experiment that permanently changed the conversation. He trapped wild crows on his campus while wearing a rubber caveman mask. Then he released the birds and walked the same paths wearing the same mask. The crows attacked him, directly, specifically, and without forgetting. Other researchers put on the mask. Same result. Students who had never interacted with the birds put on the mask. Same result. The crows were targeting the face, not the person, not the clothing, not the movement. The specific arrangement of features they had stored as dangerous. What came next was the part that demanded a rethink. Young crows who had never been trapped, birds with no personal memory of the mask, also attacked it. Not out of confusion, because they had been told. The older crows had passed the information forward, and the younger birds had learned from them. A crow does not just remember your face, it files your face under a category, safe, neutral, or threat. And it updates that file every time you appear in its territory. You are a data point in a social intelligence network you cannot see and were never meant to know about. Here is where it gets harder to dismiss. Crows hide food. They bury it, tuck it under bark, wedge it into gaps, and they remember every location with a precision that still surprises researchers months later. But in the mid-1990s, scientists noticed something else happening when crows cached food while being watched. The crow would wait for the observer to leave, and then it would move the food. Not all crows, specifically the crows that had themselves stolen from others before. A crow that has never taken food from another crow does not bother to re-hide when watched. But a crow that knows what it feels like to be the thief understands with total clarity that it could now be the target. So it models the watching crow's intentions. It asks, what does that bird know? What will it do with that knowledge? And then it acts on the answer. Psychologists call this theory of mind. The ability to understand that other creatures have thoughts, intentions, and information that differ from your own. It was supposed to be a defining feature of human cognition, and the crow has a functional version of it. The crow is not just reacting to the present, it is planning for a future state it is not currently in. Researchers designed an experiment where corvids, the family of birds that includes crows, were trained to expect specific conditions in different compartments the following morning. Hungry in one room, well-fed in another. The birds began storing extra food in the hungry compartment the evening before. Not because they were hungry then, because they knew they would be. This is called episodic future thinking. The ability to project yourself into a specific future moment, model a state you are not currently experiencing, and take action in the present to prepare for it. Linguists spent decades arguing that future planning required language, that without words you could not represent tomorrow to yourself. The crow disagreed. What this means is that the bird on your fence is not living only in the moment. It is planning. It is evaluating its current situation against anticipated future conditions and making decisions accordingly. It is doing what we do, just without telling anyone about it. Everything a crow knows, it learned. And everything it learned, it can teach. New Caledonian crows in the South Pacific do not find tools, they manufacture them. They shape hooks from plant stems, select materials specifically for flexibility and durability, and carry their tools when they fly so they do not have to make new ones. None of this is instinct. Researchers have documented that tool-making techniques differ between crow populations living on different parts of the same island. Not because their genetics differ, because their traditions differ. One population developed a hook tool design. That technique was passed to offspring, who passed it further. Across the valley, a separate group developed a different solution to the same problem. Two populations, two inherited traditions, two lineages of knowledge transmitted across generations, not through DNA, but through teaching and learning. The crow you see on your fence is not simply a bird going through its day. It is a member of a culture. It carries inherited knowledge from generations of crows that lived in that exact territory, watching that exact environment and teaching what they knew to those who came after. You have been walking past crows your whole life, and now you know what was watching you back. Every face it has memorized, every routine it has logged, every piece of information it has shared with the crow on the wire beside it. This is not unusual behavior for a crow. This is just what crows do when no one is paying attention. The question is what you do with that now. If there is a crow near your yard, pay attention to how it reacts to you specifically, compared to strangers who walk past. Drop a comment below. Have you ever noticed a crow treating you differently? Because based on the research, if you think it is personalizing its behavior toward you, you are probably right.